You're listening to the StudioPTBO podcast, where we talk all things marketing to help you build and grow your business online. Welcome to the latest episode. Welcome to the StudioPTBO podcast. We are back, and we don't have a guest, but we have some great things to talk about today. Neil Morden, how you doing? You're drinking local coffee. What are you drinking right now?
Cork and Bean.
Cork and Bean. Shout out to Cork and Bean.
Yeah, I was there this morning with, I'm going to name check a great fellow in this community, Stu Harrison.
Yeah, really
Stu is president and CEO of the Chamber, Peterborough Chamber of Commerce. You're on the board now of the Chamber. I was on the board. I retired, and then you took my position.
He's going to retire soon as well.
yeah. But Stu's awesome. Just a great dude.
Yeah,
he really sort of reinvented the Chamber, moved with the times and deploying on social media and their own little media content marketing machine they put out there on LinkedIn.
They've done
Facebook.
a lot of cool things, I would say, over the last year or so with Tiffany and Sai, being there and them doing content marketing and really following everything that we essentially have chatted about over the last year about, putting your brand out there, talking about what you do, why you do it, and really embracing the social media, modern day media of creating content.
And they've become comfort food again for prospects, for people who might want to join them or existing members. So literally they have like 5 or 6 members or staff that are ambassadors for the brand or sort of influencers. So Sandra on policy, as you said, Sai and Tiff. Stu does his thing. Paul Telecki's back doing his thing. Mm-hmm. They just have an all-star team. And I love what Stu said to me over coffee again. He talked about the fact, of course he's the CEO and he's in charge of the brand, but he's making his team and the members of the Chamber heroes by having them on social media and showcasing all the different
they're really ahead of their time.
They are
from a chamber. I haven't really seen many other chambers do what they do. And
and they're told that often. There will be other chambers eventually in Canada and the US that will already be doing it there. And Gary Vee says this all the time. He's like, chambers need to be moving with the times and being on social media more and not following tried and true practices that just don't work anymore.
Well,
right?
The interesting thing about chambers, and we weren't even going to talk about this, but the interesting thing for me is the fact that they already have the attention of so many business owners just based on the fact that they're a membership-based community. So having the ability to actually tell your story and, document and create content towards a specific demographic, you already know who your avatar is. You're working with business owners. You generally, sitting in board meetings, what their pain points are, what they want.
Right.
So having the ability to create content and actually speak specifically to your avatar and draw more people in and, highlight more people is just super unique and what they're doing at the Chamber.
And we've even made a concerted effort here, which I told Stu at Coffee, to showcase more of our team. Initially it was you and I on film a lot because we felt comfortable with that. We were already doing that. But Stu even noticed this morning, he said at Coffee, I noticed you're showcasing more of your team, like Emma's on more videos, Adam, Electric City Rob, Nora feels much more comfortable than she did. So it's like building this all-star team, and you feel like comfort food when you come in, you see Emma, you're like, oh, feel like I know Emma already. I know
especially if they're front-facing. You look at the people that are front-facing in our actual studio, and it's the Adams, it's the Robs. When you walk in, you see Rob. When you walk in, you see Adam and Nick.
And Nick even is on a lot of
and having the ability to put them front and center, and because if they're going to be the first person that you see when you walk in, you're not going to see, we're up in Ivory Tower. But you're not going to see us immediately. We're not, even if you come in for a meeting with us, you're not generally going to see us right out of the gate.
Right.
You're going to see them. They're kind of the gatekeepers.
Yeah, totally. It's really interesting. It's neat to hear that. And so quick shout out again to Stu for adapting and pivoting with the times. If you do not adapt with the times, you're dead. It's like, again, we always say it, the mantra, innovate or else. And
it just is the way it is.
And again, you can be nostalgic about the past, but don't live in the past or you're fucked.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yeah.
And, I think that's a great segue into the conversation that we want to have today on creativity and how it opens doors. we had Jason Wilkins come in and actually do some Sharpie on your door. And he actually wrote that on the door saying creativity opens doors. So, you wrote an article, I would say probably about, what day was that? That was Monday. So that was actually this week. You wrote an article essentially being unreasonable. And I took that and I sent it out to our client list, and we got a lot of great responses.
Oh, that's
back.
cool.
So like a lot of people responding back to us saying, I needed this, or this is like exactly what I needed to hear right now. Maybe take me through high level macro overview, because I want to talk about the creativity, but then I also want to talk about mindset today. So maybe take me through a high level overview of essentially what the article that you wrote is about.
Right. Well, it's again spurred by Jason Wilkins, this brilliant illustrator who resides in Peterborough but has clients like all over the place, all over Canada. And the idea being creativity opens doors. I feel like so many people are, and they tell me this, and I know this, are boxed in by being so worried about what people think about them and how they're going to judge them. And
interesting how that happens.
And it does. And they're thus paralyzed by not doing anything, by inaction, and not trying to explore their creative. But I find the more you do it and the more you beta test and throw out stuff, it kind of unleashes you, and it allows you to think about life in a different way, think about your brand in a different way, think about possibilities in a different way. And I just encourage people and my daughters, my colleagues, my friends, like, why you're so worried about what people think, and you're not in high school anymore even. Like high school is the time to be really worried about peer pressure. What do you care anymore? And I feel like you've sort of found that groove in the last few years. I know I have, for years now, sort of being in the media world where you're encouraged to be creative. You have to be creative and be fun and entertaining and engaging. So I love that in that world, and I thrive in that world. And maybe it's so obvious to me, but it's not to other people. So I just encourage you to try, whether it's like on Instagram or start a TikTok account or Facebook, Twitter, to put yourself out there a little more and draw. If you think you can be an illustrator, try dabbling. If you think you can take a photography class, take a writing class. That's all.
And I think what I think is really unique about that is you don't know the thing that you are good at until you try it. Like, I'm a really firm believer that you don't know. I don't believe I knew I was supposed to do something until I actually did it.
Yeah.
Like, until you look back and you're like, okay, I was meant to do this, or I was actually whether called or meant, whatever whatever terminology you want to use. Like, I didn't really know I was meant to do this until I did it. So,
and you didn't go to school for it.
Totally. I did not go to school for marketing.
People ask me about Cody. They say, well, how did Cody get in with StudioPTBO? This has come up a few times. I'm like, I just identified him as a talent, someone who thinks outside the box, is innovative, and he learned on his own. He learned, I feel like we're too boxed in life by you have to go to school and do this and take this in order to be accepted, to have any chance to get in with a company or organ. And it's just, I think the more you, again, be a disruptor, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the more that you positive disruptor, the better.
And I think, especially in the marketing industry, if we have people that are listening to this podcast that are thinking about going to school, and thinking about doing a marketing degree or going through for film, and they want to start their own business, I personally, and this is my personal opinion, I personally would say don't do that. Go and work for an agency, whether you're interning, work for free, get as close to the sun as you possibly can. I was chatting with a friend the other day about you and I were chatting about this friend, and he is in a spot right now where he doesn't feel as creative as he did in the past, and he's just kind of stuck doing what he's always done.
Kind of stuck in mud, flatline.
Kind of stuck in mud. And I said that, I told him, I'm like, what really, when do you feel the most fulfilled? When are those moments in life that you feel fulfilled? And I think you have to go and do something that is really out of your comfort zone in order to feel that fulfillment in life. And for some people, it's having a family. For some people, it's traveling the world. For some people, it's working with someone that they really look up to. And I said to him, I'm like, why don't, there was a specific author that he's always looked up to and always liked. And I said, why don't you shoot that person an email? Like, what's the worst going to happen? Shoot him an email and see he has any openings available on his team. That's what Babin did.
100%.
But we had Babin on the podcast.
We made the ask.
He jumped into a cab with Gary Vaynerchuk, and he ended up working for Gary Vee.
Yeah.
So you don't know until you try, and you don't really know. Like for me, and my journey and my story is like, I spent 4 years in Bible college training to become a pastor, and then I moved into retail because that's what I felt like I was good at sales. And then I just made a leap. We like at that time, like a lot of people don't know this. We didn't have any clients. Like I didn't like for me, like you at PTBO Canada, you were doing your
no, you're
thing.
right. You're quite right on studio.
Like,
no, we didn't.
I didn't have any clients.
Yeah.
I took the jump.
I told you we had some good prospects.
Yeah, there was some good prospects. But at that point in time, I made the leap because of what I thought was possible.
Right.
You know, and
that's being I read in a book which we have on our shelf. I forget the name of it, but it's being comfortable with the uncomfortable 100%. In life, and you have to be. If you go through life always comfortable and always trying to not, then you're gonna fail by not even trying, by not doing anything. You're just gonna be complacent and in a rut. And I see that with a lot of people. And you know, again, I would say with creativity that a lot of people think creators are just born that way and it just comes to them, like they write this magical song or movie or book. And you know, Stephen King wrote a book which I write about in the column called On Writing, which I've read several times, and he's very disciplined about it. You know, he's a fantastic writer, but he wasn't always that good. He didn't start out that way. It was repetition. It was practice. It was doing a lot of reading of other authors and books, and it was creating structure in your life. Again, a lot of people think creativity just happens on a whim and you have to be drunk or high to do something and to be inspired, but you don't. You have to know, as you said, you have to step outside your comfort zone and then push yourself to learn that art, whatever it is, and create that. Find every 2 or 3 hours every day. Like 100%. Sit down and do it. Repetition.
And I 100% agree with you. And the reason I agree with you, I've you know, kind of, and this kind of falls for me into mindset. You know, I've been doing a lot of reading lately. I know that you know, you're a really big proponent of reading. I've been doing a lot of reading lately. And there's 2 books I highly, highly recommend that everyone reads. And I did the mastermind training with Stan and Kat Howell, and they recommended 2 books. And they said High Performance Habits by Brendon Burchard and Peak Performance, which you have read.
Right, yeah.
And the essence of this, and I think creativity is very similar to like a high performer. Like somebody that like an athlete or a high performance business owner, somebody that has really done it. It's practice, and it's really implementing daily routines, and it's implementing systems in place in your life that will essentially allow you to get you where you want to be. It's having that forward vision. Like Stan said something really unique on last night's sales call and mindset training. He says, don't live in the state of where you currently are, live in the state of where you want to be. And I found it really interesting that he said that, because it really echoed a lot of the things that are said in these books. Like a lot of the things that happen with high performance is they think they have a North Star, they have a vision of where they want to be, and then they implement process and daily systems in order to get there. It's like, you know, if you want to make $10 million, or you want your business to be $1 million business, or you want to be, you know, a creative person, it's like, what can you do, and what are the systems and processes that you can set in place in your life in order to get there, in order to realize those goals. Like if you want to be a videographer, if you want to be
podcaster, a vlogger, it's not rocket science, any of this stuff.
You have to implement systems.
And you have to have subject expertise. You have to sort of, I would say, stay in your lane. You know, you and I don't pivot off into different areas like politics or religion or all that. Like we stay in our lane. This is our expertise, you know, sort of pop culture and social media and marketing and branding. And that's what we love and we're passionate about. So
100%.
You know, that, I guess that's the biggest takeaway today from, you know, again, people like I started with Stu Harrison from the Chamber saying, they're very creative there. They test things, they beta test things, they have fun. They try and bring people into their brand through quirkiness and entertainment. And you know, that's what I would say if you're a business or organization or startup right now is don't overthink things.
What do you think holds, well, like, you know, we've both chatted with kind of business owners locally, globally, nationally. What do you think is the biggest thing that is holding business owners back from actually starting? Is it a time thing? Is it Is it just I don't know what to post? Like you've chatted with a ton of local business owners. Like how have you been able, because you've been able to help a lot of business owners kind of get over that initial fear of posting to social media, telling their story online. What are these fears, and how, like, maybe we can give them some practical advice on how to kind of get over those fears of posting?
Yeah, I think the mindset's mainly around, I think time is bullshit, to be honest. Like, I really do. Like, I call bullshit on people who say they don't have time. Because if you literally put a camera in the room,
it's
like
a priority thing.
Yeah, it's a priority thing. So let's bypass the time thing, because that's a self-awareness thing. You do have time in the day to be doing more than you're doing.
To block off a half an hour, start a time tracking sheet.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, we all know there's time wasters in a day. For me, it's really overthinking. It comes down to life. I find so many people overthink what they should do in any given day or what they should say for fear of being judged. And I think when you get past that mindset, you just start to have at it and just create the content, because it's not hard to create content anymore. Take a photo or do a quick audio clip or do a quick iPhone video. Like, people are very, you know, whether a digital native or a digital immigrant, people are astute now with technology. So I think that's the number one thing people have to get past, is that mindset of just do it. Like, it sounds so stupid, but so many people are following so many rules in life, and their fear of being judged. Get past it and just do it.
And I would say, you know, to kind of add to that is like to just do it. Like practical, you know, of the business owners that I've chatted with, is like map it out. Like map out what a week looks like to you, and don't talk about things you don't know about. Or talk about the things, like if you look at the things that I talk about on my personal channel, it's like email automation, lead generation, mindset, Facebook ads. Like if you go through my, like, and then my, you know, who I am as a person, like it's those 5 things.
Yeah, you talk about your journey sometimes too, but you pretty much stay in your lane, and I pretty much stay in my lane too. And I think, again, if you're in the renovation industry, you talk about construction, you talk about putting out,
about renovation, like, you know about, like, you can, like, I don't know anything about renovation, but you could talk about one specific thing of the buying process every single day. You know,
people want to hear about that. If you're an electrician, do a podcast about what it's like to be an electrician, what you should know about what to install in your head. It sounds stupid, but everyone has their lane and their subject expertise, and they assume people don't want to hear about it, or they assume people already know everything about it that they don't. They don't have a clue.
We work with a ton of real estate professionals, and I can guarantee you, if you're a real estate professional looking at, like, watching this actual video or listening to this podcast, the home buyer does not know the home buyer process. So the more that you can educate the home buyer on the home buyer process, like, have they gone to the bank? Have they got pre-approved? Do they know what they're pre-approved for? Have they went to a mortgage? Like, there's so many steps of the home buying process that people just don't know because they're not being educated. You know, if you can become that subject expertise in your field, whether you're an electrician, whether you're a real estate professional, whether you're a dentist, a doctor, like whatever you may be,
you become the thought leader in that category, whether it's local, and it could become national and global. You just never know.
I want to give a shout out to Bob Govro, somebody that, you know, is a really good friend of mine. He is becoming the thought leader for Canadian entrepreneurs in Canada. He was on breakfast television last week.
In Toronto. Yeah.
You know, talking.
And
about
he's at his North Star
literacy
with stuff like that. Like he wants to get on big media like CBC, CTV.
And again, it's a North Star.
It's a North Star. It's all part of the journey. So, again, it's so cliche, but anything is possible. But you have to get outside of that rut of that complacency of, well, I'm going to do it someday. The someday doesn't always come. So
implement process, do what you do best, talk about what you know, and just be okay with the uncomfortable.
And if you do have any questions about any of this stuff about creativity and where to start and how to get out of the funk, reach out to us.
And
we love to chat group, or email us and reach out for a meeting, and
send an email to neil@StudioPTBO.com. And thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Studio PTBO podcast. If you're a real estate professional and you're looking to attract more leads, automate your marketing, sell more homes, we have a digital marketing hack for real estate professionals. That'll be in the comment section below. And the other thing is, if you're just an entrepreneur in Peterborough or really anywhere across North America or anywhere in the world, and you're looking for a community and a group of entrepreneurs that are really looking to grow their business in the online space and are really looking for help around marketing, branding, advertising, we would love to have you in the Studio PTBO Marketing Hacks group. This video is going to be in the Marketing Hacks group. We have about 370 people now in the Studio PTBO.
Really happy about that.
Super happy, super great engagement. awesome community. So if you are looking for a community to belong to, we would love to have you in the Studio PTBO Marketing Hacks group. There's about 3 questions that you'll fill out in order to get into the group. I think one of them is like, are you a business owner? The next one is like, do you want a copy of our free lead generation? So we're giving you value on the upfront. And then just the third question is like, do you want to work with us? And we would love to have the opportunity to sit down and figure out whether we're a fit for each other. Thank you so much for tuning into the Studio PTBO podcast. We will see you soon.